Welcome back to Rebook Recaps, A Court of Thorns and Roses, chapters 11 through 15 recapped. If you want more book recaps, please like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell for our next premiere. Chapter 11, A Bitter Reawakening, Feyre's New Life at the Spring Court. Feyre is now residing in the Spring Court, a beautiful but eerie place, under the watch of Tamlin, the High Lord. She is still grappling with the trauma of killing the wolf and her captivity, though Tamlin is kind to her. While she tries to adapt to the court's peculiarities, Feyre remains emotionally distant, unwilling to fully accept her new reality, Tamlin's mysterious nature. Tamlin's enigmatic nature becomes more apparent. He is often distant, seeming to guard some deep secret about his realm. Feyre senses that there is something more to Tamlin's actions, but she doesn't yet understand the weight of the curse that binds him and the entire Spring Court. Feyre's anger and confusion. Despite his kindness, Feyre is frustrated. She feels trapped by the laws of the Fae and the obligations that come with her new life. She wishes she could return to her family, but the reality of her situation keeps her from acting on those desires. The weight of her past mistakes and decisions looms over her. Lucian's role in the Spring Court. Lucian, Tamlin's best friend and emissary, plays a crucial role in guiding Feyre through the intricacies of life at the Spring Court. He is more open with her than Tamlin, often helping her navigate the rules and customs of the Fae. Their interactions, while not yet friendly, start to lay the foundation for a future bond. Feyre's exploration of the Spring Court. Feyre takes small steps to explore her new environment. The Spring Court is both beautiful and haunting, with an endless expanse of flowers and fields that seem alive. She begins to notice the contrast between the world outside and the darker, more ominous undercurrents beneath the surface. Tamlin's warning. Tamlin warns Feyre about the dangers of the surrounding lands, particularly the hidden threats from the Fae world. He reminds her that she is not truly safe, and although she is in his care, the Spring Court's beauty hides dangers that she doesn't yet understand. This is an important moment of foreshadowing. Feyre's growing discomfort. As Feyre settles into her new home, she becomes increasingly uncomfortable with the Fae around her. Their beauty and grace are both mesmerizing and unsettling, and she struggles with her place in a world so different from her own. The tension builds as she realizes that her former life is slipping further away. The curse that shadows the court. Tamlin's mood swings, from distant and cold to unexpectedly warm, reveal that something is deeply troubling him. Feyre is curious about the curse that haunts the Spring Court, but is unsure whether Tamlin will ever reveal its full details. She wonders if the curse could have anything to do with the strange occurrences she notices around her, nightmares and inner struggles. Feyre is haunted by nightmares about her family and the life she once knew. These dreams highlight her internal conflict as she still feels the weight of the promises she made to her family, but she also feels a growing attachment to Tamlin and his court. Her struggle to reconcile these conflicting emotions continues to plague her. A fragile peace. By the end of the chapter, Feyre is beginning to accept her new reality, though the fragility of her peace is evident. She is learning to cope with the strange dynamics of the Spring Court, but she knows that her place here is tenuous. Tamlin's protective presence, while comforting, also feels suffocating. Chapter 12. Tensions rise. Feyre's growing resentment. Feyre's resentment towards her situation starts to grow. The more time she spends at the Spring Court, the more she longs for her old life. Despite Tamlin's kindness, she feels a deep sense of loss and isolation, unable to fully integrate into this world that feels so alien to her. Tamlin's wariness. Tamlin's wariness about Feyre's emotional state becomes more apparent. He tries to shield her from the darker aspects of the Fae world, but he is careful not to push her too hard. However, his protective nature starts to border on possessiveness, and Feyre is disturbed by the restrictions placed upon her freedom, the masked ball invitation. Tamlin invites Feyre to attend a grand masquerade ball, an event that brings many important figures from the Fae world together. The ball is meant to be a distraction, a chance for Feyre to experience the grandeur of the Spring Court. However, it also symbolizes her growing entanglement with the Fae world. Lucien's unfiltered honesty. Lucien's role as Tamlin's emissary and friend continues to evolve. He is more outspoken with Feyre, offering blunt opinions on the Fey world. Lucien's straightforwardness is a source of comfort for Feyre, as she begins to understand that he might be one of the few people she can trust in this strange new realm. Feyre's struggle with the fairy world. Feyre is increasingly uncomfortable with the Fae and their customs. She feels like an outsider, constantly reminded that she doesn't belong in this magical world. This chapter showcases her inner turmoil as she struggles to fit in while trying to retain her humanity. The Masquerade Ball, a world of masks. The Masquerade Ball is a grand and mesmerizing spectacle. Feyre is both awed and overwhelmed by the glamour of the event. The Fae around her wear intricate masks, adding to the mystery and danger of the evening. Feyre's unease grows as she realizes that everyone at the ball is hiding something, hints of Tamlin's burden. During the ball, Tamlin's burden becomes more apparent. His mask is not just for show, but a symbol of the curse that haunts him. Feyre is disturbed by the way Tamlin acts at the ball, appearing more tense and withdrawn than ever. She starts to suspect that there is more to his behavior than he has let on. Feyre's encounter with Rhysand. At the ball, Feyre meets a mysterious Fae named Rhysand, who immediately draws her attention. His charm and power are undeniable, but Feyre senses that there is something darker and more dangerous about him. Rhysand's teasing remarks and his ability to unsettle her mark him as a formidable presence in her life, a fragile friendship. Despite her discomfort at the masquerade, Feyre forms a tentative bond with Lucien. Their conversations grow more personal, and she begins to see him as a potential ally. Lucien, for his part, shows a growing respect for Feyre's strength, despite her outsider status. A tension-filled departure. As the ball concludes, Feyre leaves feeling more confused and unsettled than ever. The evening has revealed more about the Fey world, but it has also raised more questions than answers. The tension between Feyre and Tamlin is palpable, and Feyre knows that things are far from resolved. Chapter 13. Revelations and Betrayals. Feyre's growing doubts. In this chapter, Feyre's doubts about her situation deepen. The masquerade ball has left her feeling even more isolated. She is now more aware of the dangerous political machinations at play within the Spring Court, and her mistrust of Tamlin grows. The idea of betrayal starts to take root in her mind. Tamlin's secretive behavior. Tamlin's increasingly secretive nature makes Feyre question his motives. He becomes more withdrawn, and his interactions with her feel distant and strained. Feyre senses that there is something significant he is keeping from her, and she feels as though she is being kept in the dark. Rhysand's return. Rhysand's reappearance in the Spring Court adds an additional layer of tension. His interactions with Feyre continue to be marked by his arrogance and flirtation, but there is also an undercurrent of something much darker. Feyre is unsure whether to trust him, but she knows that his influence in the Fey world cannot be ignored. The curse unveiled. Through a conversation with Lucien, Feyre begins to understand more about the curse that plagues the Spring Court. Lucien reveals that the curse is not just a personal issue for Tamlin, but something that affects the entire court. Feyre's realization about the curse deepens her empathy for Tamlin, but it also complicates her feelings toward him, the truth behind the mask. Tamlin's behavior grows more erratic as the tension escalates. He finally admits that the mask he wears is a symbol of his curse. Feyre is shocked by the depth of his suffering and begins to wonder how much of Tamlin's distance and secrecy is a result of the curse and how much is his own personal choice, the promise of freedom. As the reality of the curse sets in, Feyre begins to see that there may be no way out of her current predicament. The Spring Court, while beautiful, is not a place of freedom, but a prison for Tamlin and everyone who lives under his rule. Feyre is forced to confront the truth about her own fate and the possibility of never returning to her family. Betrayal in the court. The chapter takes a darker turn when Feyre discovers that one of the members of the court has betrayed Tamlin. The betrayal is a stark reminder of the dangers that lie beneath the surface of the Fey world. Feyre is forced to reckon with the idea that trust is a fragile commodity in this world. Tamlin's vulnerability. In a moment of rare vulnerability, Tamlin confides in Feyre. He reveals that he has been suffering under the curse for years, and that he is powerless to break it. Feyre is struck by his honesty and begins to question whether her initial assumptions about him were entirely correct. A dangerous alliance. Rhysand's proposal to Feyre marks a significant turning point in the narrative. He offers her an alliance, but it comes with strings attached. Feyre is torn between the promise of power and freedom that Rhysand offers and her growing feelings for Tamlin. A new direction. By the end of the chapter, Feyre finds herself at a crossroads. She has learned more about the dark truths of the Spring Court and is left grappling with the decisions she must make. The chapter sets the stage for the unfolding drama, as Feyre realizes that her fate is intertwined with the politics of the Fey world in ways she never imagined. Support our community, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications and never miss a story.